Now we here, now we here. Now we here, now we here. Now we here, now we here. Now we here, now we here.
Hello and welcome. I'm Laon, a certified life coach and addiction recovery coach, here to teach you manifestation so that you can manifest the life of your dreams. If you would like to work with me one-on-one for any coaching services, please check out the Dropbox below at soulutions.coaching.org. And if you could do me that favor of hitting the subscribe button along with the bell icon, that way you're notified every time I post new videos, and hit that thumbs up button. That way you can push it out to other people if this video does inspire you. That way it can maybe inspire them as well. Today we are going to dive into a little analogy that I shared with a client. I just want to check in with you guys, see how you guys are feeling. If you could comment down below any other video suggestions that you may have that you want me to touch on, or comment down below, how you're feeling about different things. That way I can answer you guys, right? I can't help if you're not reaching out. So when it comes to feeling uncomfortable in our body when different memories come up or obsessive thoughts come up or maybe emotions come up, the best way to look at it is almost like when you buy a new pair of sneakers. These sneakers look really freaking good, but when you try them on, they're a little tight, they're a little bit uncomfortable, they haven't been broken in yet, right? But the more that we begin to wear them and show them off and flaunt our new shoes, they begin to break in, they begin to stretch out and mold to the pattern of our foot or the layout of our foot and become our new favorite pair because they are broken in exactly how we want them and super freaking comfortable. Well, that's what a new state of consciousness is like. At first, it might feel a little uncomfortable as we are familiarizing ourselves with new emotions, new thought patterns, new belief systems. You'll notice if you're listening to a sleep tape at night, nightmares might come up. Maybe you might be shutting things off. Maybe you are profusely sweating at night. Maybe you can't sleep at all and you're going to work tired because the tape kept you up all night. Well, the reason why that's happening is because your subconscious mind is feeling uncomfortable with this change. Okay? It hasn't been broken in yet, and feeling comfortable with the idea of this new belief system. The same happens when we're going on throughout our day and all of a sudden we have these obsessive thoughts about a third party. Well, it's because our mind is used to feeling triggered by our 3D circumstances or by feeling these certain emotions. So our mind, because they're familiar to us, these emotions, this sadness, this hurt, this resentment, this anger, this feeling of guilt or shame, because our body is used to them and our body becomes addicted to the stress response that we have, it will intentionally create scenarios in our mind, true or not true, we decide what they are. It will intentionally create these scenarios or these inner arguments or these obsessive thoughts of the unwanted in our mind, so then we can have that emotional response, so then it gets its dopamine rush and that hit of, yes, we fulfilled our quota for the day of feeling like shit, because that's how we're used to feeling. So when we begin to shift our state of consciousness, this might happen in the very beginning more and more often because your body is actually starting to transition to a new stress response. It's actually becoming more familiar with a new state, a new behavior, a new stress response, instead of adapting, or instead of going with the flow of the sadness, the resentment, and the emotional chaos that we were feeling before. It's now starting to adapt to a new feeling state. You are now familiarizing yourself with more elevated emotions because the timeline that we are jumping into is more elevated. So we feel better, right? Well, how can we feel better if we're holding on to resentment? We can't. That is kind of like with my shoe analogy. That's like wearing the new shoe or putting on the old shoe and then trying to stuff your foot into the new shoe. It ain't going to work. It ain't going to fit right. It ain't going to be comfortable, right? So obviously we have to take the old shoe off to even try on the new shoe. And maybe we got to try on that new shoe and break it in, 5 minutes at a time before it becomes comfortable enough to where we can, spend our day walking around in this new pair of shoes, right? So again, it's the same with our state. Maybe at first we can only feel good or elevated or new emotions or embody or have these good feeling visuals come to us or have that self-talk that makes us feel good for a couple of minutes. And then we fall back into the old comfortable feeling state. That is fine. It's our job to continue to return to what we do want, return to the more elevated emotions through our self-talk, through our visualizations, through the nervous system regulation. That's our job. That's our only job, is to return. We don't have to hold anything. But as you'll notice, the more times that you're able to return, when the thought of your manifestation comes to mind, don't force yourself to do anything. But when the thought of your manifestation comes to mind and you return to, well, this is how I would feel, this is how I would think, this is what my behaviors would be like, this is overall my identity now, and you begin to elevate and feel even 1% lighter, even 1% less tense in your body, that's how we know that we are shifting into that new state and familiarizing ourselves with it. And you'll notice that you're able to maintain the state for longer. So at first it might have been a minute or two where you're feeling that relief. You're feeling a little bit more elevated. You're feeling a little bit lighter. And then you go right back to the shit, feelings, right? Even though our thoughts might be in alignment, we're having a good mental diet, the shit feelings or memories might be coming up and we just surrender to them. We just allow them to be there because it's not what we prefer anyway. So we don't need to emotionally respond to it or try to push it away. Just let it be there and it will go away on its own. It's kind of like, with a friend that's being super annoying. If you just tell that friend, shut up and ignore them, guess what? The friend shuts up and they stop, right? Or, anything else in your reality that you can relate to in that essence. You take your attention off of it and continue to just do what you want instead and focus on what you do want instead. Same thing with our mindset. If a memory comes up or an emotion comes up that we don't like, okay, let it be there. Do what it wants. It's not what I prefer anyways. Shut up and move on, And you'll notice that once we start familiarizing ourselves with this state over and over and over and over and over again, no longer resisting the old story, no longer resisting those old feelings, it becomes more and more dominant. And it's just one day you wake up and it's just throughout the entire day, you're just feeling really good. You're feeling really elevated. And just like with the new shoes, that's your dominant pair now. Those are the ones you choose to go out in every single day because they're the most comfortable. They've been broken in now. Does that make sense? So I want you to look at your mindset in shifting states of consciousness like this. At first, it might be uncomfortable. It might be unknown. It might be unfamiliar. It might be a little scary at times, right? Might be yucky, it might be heavy and dense. But as we continue to familiarize ourselves with a new state, with new feelings, with new thought patterns, new belief systems, through new programming, it will become more and more natural for us to feel better and better and more higher elevated emotions, higher elevated feelings where our body becomes a little bit lighter and not so dense and tense. You'll notice that it becomes easier, right? That's all that shifting states is. It might be a little bit uncomfortable. That is okay. But you continue doing your techniques to help you embody that state, or honestly just deciding this is who I am now, not paying your inner world or your inner thoughts any attention, not paying attention to the external and fully just embracing who you are internally, focusing on your self-talk, focusing on the mental diet, focusing on the mirror work, focusing on the nervous system regulation work. Your day should be filled with things that prioritize you, that make you feel good, that you're not even aware of what's going on in your 3D. You could give two shits. You are so indifferent to it because you already know your internal world is your everything. It's the only thing that matters. You really begin to detach from the external and recognize the internal is the only world that you live in, right? So hopefully this video helped you understand different emotions and why we are feeling them, why things come to surface, why memories and old patterns begin to come up. They come up to be cleared out. And kind of like with the shoe analogy, you want to change your pair of shoes, you have to break in the new pair for them to become your new favorite pair that just fit just right and feel amazing and are super comfortable. familiarize yourself with that new state, and it will become as comfortable as you always wanted it to be, and your life will become as comfortable as you've always wanted it to be. If you could do me that favor and hit that subscribe button along with the bell icon and that thumbs up button, if this video did inspire you or gave you any new outlooks or knowledge, that way other people can have those same outlooks and knowledge as well. Please comment down below, guys. Like I said in the beginning of the video, give me some video suggestions because I'm running out here, honestly. And let me know how you guys are feeling or the emotional states that you are in. Or if you want to work with me, check that out. It's all in the drop box below. But as always, guys, thank you for being here. Thank you for your support on this channel. And as always, you got this.
Hey, bottom, hey, now we here. Hey, bottom, hey, now we here. Hey, bottom.